Tonight we are in a state forest campground, and this doesn't happen very often. You would think we go camping all the time living in an Airstream, but we very rarely stay in little parks like this with the fire pit. With our niece Lily, you're going to be in a More We Explore video, Lily. We don't do this very often because there's usually not cell signal and there's never hookups, and it's often hard to get the solar to charge. We've got enough battery bank that we can make it 4 or 5 days without solar, but after that we need to move. But we did happen to find one place here where we could get cell service, so I worked from here today. So a lot of viewers think we just live in the forest like this all the time, working with this beautiful view out our backyard. This is our favorite type of car camping to do in places like this, but there's almost never cell service. So that's something to consider. And this is one huge reason why we love the 23-footer. This isn't even an RV spot. This is a car camping spot where you bring your car, pitch your tent, and that's it. But because the 23-footer is the size of a truck, it fits here, which is super awesome. So here we've got our Tundra, and we've got the Airstream that barely fit in this little site, but they fit. There's no way we could have gotten in here with a 25-footer. There's 25 feet of room there, but maneuvering it in here would not have happened, and definitely not in the 30-footer. So when you're RV shopping, a lot of people, like when you go in the big ones, you're just like, wow, this is luxurious. There's massaging leather chairs over here. There's an island with a bar over there, a big screen over there. Those are awesome when you're boondocking in the middle of the desert in Nevada and Arizona and Colorado and Utah. But when you're trying to get into little spots like this, it's not possible, and so you kind of have to kiss this kind of camping goodbye. Granted, there are exceptions, but for the most part, 25 feet and under for this. And even for this, we're super glad we have the 23-footer. So when we think about selling the 23-footer, we're really sad because this is what we live for. But it's a little bit tight for a baby and a lot bit tight to have 4 bikes. Now that the van's gone, there's no great way for us to carry 4 bikes and have this. When you live full-time in your trailer, it's a lot different than taking a weekend camping trip because everything you own has to fit in there. We have loved the 23-footer. It has grown on us so much. In fact, we first wanted the 25 SS. Couldn't find any that were to the quality standard we wanted. We saw this and thought, I think we could make 23 work, and I love it. I'm so glad we have. It's going to be so sad to sell this.
Yeah, it's bittersweet. It's tough. We're so excited to have a baby on the way, but we're not going to be able to have it all. We're going to have to, there's going to be some give and take, and we'll have to make some choices, but it'll all work out in the end. We'll be able to keep traveling, and we'll get it all sorted.
So another thing we're thinking about, I mean, there are people with 45-foot fifth wheels and buses and just these huge monster rigs, and we've seen RV parks where those can be parked. And so that's possible, but they're usually not in settings like this. And so we're just going to have to take our tent when we go into settings like that. And like this 23-footer, we've been able to park on the side of probably 10 people's houses. It's the size of a car. We just back it in there on the side of their house, unhitch, and for a week we have a place to keep it. With a 30, 35, 40, 45-footer, you start getting so huge. You either need to drop it off at a storage location, which is way harder to find than we've found, and a lot of them are full with a waiting list, or you have to find an RV park big enough for them, which in my experience isn't usually near the mountain biking trails we like to be at or near the hiking trails. And the RVing is getting so popular now, especially full-time RVing, that campgrounds are filling up 6 months in advance. We went to Moab and talked to somebody there and said, hey, do you have any spots just for the night? And they kind of looked at us and said, this year, 2018, we have not had a single spot not occupied every night from, that was in February all the way till June. They hadn't had a single spot that wasn't reserved. And so, like when you watch a lot of your favorite YouTubers, it looks like we just kind of plop down wherever we want, have a beautiful time, work from the forest. That's not been our case, at least. And, you know, I'm sure if you go to the less desirable parts, it's a little bit easier to find things. But we're having to plan our stays, you know, 3 months in advance. So when you have these dreams about full-timing one day and you imagine spending every night here and boondocking for free and just running up to the national park or the mountains, the part that you don't see, that those of us that felt full-time can tell you, is a lot of these places you got to book 3 months in advance. And even the boondocking sites now are getting super packed. And that's one reason we don't share our favorite boondocking sites, because the spots that 5 years ago you'd see 1 or 2 people at now have 40 or 50 rigs there, and it's not the same experience. So we're glad that people are getting out and exploring more, but it definitely impacts us on a day-to-day. And I don't want to give you a misconception that those of us that full-time just show up, we just decide, where are we going to go today? Oh, let's just go to some gorgeous spot. Oh, and there will magically be a spot perfect size for our rig waiting for us.
And it'll have internet so we can work.
Yeah, and hookups and sewer dumps. And so, anyway, that's that. If you are looking to do more of this type of camping, I would strongly recommend getting one that's 25 feet or smaller. And by 25 feet, I mean from the ball to the bumper, not the box size. We've been looking at some 25-footers that actually measure 31 feet when you measure them. There's no way they would fit in here. So if you want to do more national parks, state parks, national forests, this type of thing, like even if you had a 30-footer, you'd have a hard time getting around the drive. Even forget about backing into a spot. Just getting through the campground would be tough. If you don't care and you need your space and you're going to be out in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, boondocking, you know, you could make a 40-foot fifth wheel work. But that's kind of where it breaks down, and that's been our experience with it. So we've loved Reynold. Awesome little trailer. Like we've said before, it's our favorite Airstream ever made, especially the Ocean Breeze. It's the smallest dual axle trailer there is, which tow way better and they're safer. If you do get a flat, you can still drive on the other 3 tires. It's the largest narrow body. It's kind of the best of everything. We love the corner bathroom. We love the corner bed. Now that we've updated the desk, we love the front. There's nothing we don't love about this trailer. I love it. It's going to be sad to see it go, but with having children comes making sacrifices, and we are happy to make sacrifices for our little daughter that's coming, but that does mean compromises and not being able to camp with our trailer in places like this.